Good morning. I am Liz. I am one half of the team at Rising Tide. We are trying some new techniques today. So I'm going to try to add my partner, Lindsay. So she should be on here in just a minute. Just trying to set this. Hi, Lindsay. She should pop up in just a second. This is all new for us. We've never done this split screen thing before, so we are trying it new, but we thought that you might want to get both of us Rising Tide women in your video on Monday morning. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and start introducing us since we are, it says it's adding Lindsay. So we are Rising Tide Women, in case you aren't familiar with us yet. We do support education and community from preconception all the way to postpartum and beyond. And we really care a lot about building community for our clients. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello. How is everybody?
It's so good to see your face on here.
It's good to see you. This will be fun.
I know. I love it. So I was just introducing and saying a little bit about what we do at Rising Tide. And maybe, do you want to jump in and introduce yourself, since you haven't been on the Facebook Live before, and talk a little bit about what you do here at Rising Tide?
Okay.
Just gonna throw you in.
Just throw me right in. So I'm Lindsay, and I am one of the birth doulas with Rising Tide. I also provide postpartum care, some lactation education, but I leave most of that to Liz because she truly knows her stuff. And I'm also a birth educator, and Liz and I co-teach together, and we have a lot of fun when we do that. And yes, it's unlike anything anyone has experienced, and they really learn a lot and have a good time. Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and I just want to add that Lindsay is not just our principal birth doula here at Rising Tide. Lindsay is an amazing birth doula and an amazing postpartum support person. Like, I feel like, Lindsay, I have learned, I was a doula before we met, but I feel like I've learned so much from you. And so I just want to just give you a shout out because you're amazing.
I love what I do, and I love making sure people have great information and that they believe in themselves.
Yes, that's what we do. So I am Liz. I'm the other half of the team at Rising Tide, and I tend to do more videos, so you might see my face more often. Just because I love to talk. I'm a talker. So I also do birth education. Lindsay and I usually tag team the birth education, which is a great time. We actually have 2 series coming up in March, which I'm so excited about, because typically we kind of just sit around on the living room floor and we show pictures. We do a lot of talking about what to expect, what's going to happen, and we just have a good laugh. We have so much fun at these classes that we do. I also do birth support, but right now I only am doing doula work for clients who have a scheduled cesarean, because that's my wheelhouse. That's what I really am passionate about with birth doula work. And we both do postpartum support. So I do postpartum support, although I don't do overnights like Lindsay does. A shout out to Lindsay's overnight postpartum support, but I do daytime support here on the Cape, and I also do breastfeeding support, and that's really my main area of nerdiness is lactation, and that's really, so you'll hear a lot of my Facebook Lives will be about lactation and breastfeeding because that's my thing. So
you're so good at it.
Oh, I love it. It's so
Mhm,
fun.
mhm.
I read lactation research studies for fun. Just in case anyone wondered how nerdy I am. So that's who we are and what we do. If you want to find out more, you can find us at risingtidewomen.com. And we have our beautiful website up there. You can learn more and you can get in touch with us. So why don't we dive right in? Today we were going to talk about um, taking care of yourself in the postpartum period. And I want to just talk a little bit about this word postpartum because, Lindsay, I have noticed, just
Mhm.
adjusting, that when we talk about postpartum, a lot of people think of postpartum depression.
They do. They
So,
immediately jump to that. It's almost like I feel like right after I say the word, I have to explain right away that I'm talking about like a time period.
yes. So can you explain like what we are talking about when we talk about postpartum?
Well, I think that the term, I mean, primarily for our work, it's the first 3 months after having a baby. I think there is some flexibility in the language as to how long, you know,
Yeah.
the support goes on. I do. I think there is that flexibility, but technically it's the first 3 months after one has a baby or their babies.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that we focus so heavily in our culture on pregnancy and birth. And then I feel like and this, you and I have had so many conversations about this, but like after baby is here, the birth parent often gets kind of lost in the shuffle and the focus is so much on the baby that,
I
yeah,
mean, come on.
that the birth parent often is like, well, hey, like I just expelled a human from my body. Like, what about me? I'm still over here.
Yeah. Yeah, a major part of that birthing that beautiful baby or babies. And it is a bit sad that we tend to want to go and see the baby. I mean, yes, we want to go and visit the family,
Yeah.
but oftentimes new parents are not quite ready for that company yet. And it's not to say, you shouldn't go and see people because I think they also need adult interaction. But it's about being respectful as to how you approach a visit or
Yeah.
talking to them about their birth experience or their postpartum experience or the fact that maybe they didn't get a shower today and they're used to showering every day and it just isn't happening that way anymore. And really being there in that space to listen and
Yeah.
pay attention to what they're really saying
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes what they're not saying.
and what they're
Um,
not saying.
yeah. And I think that's something we kind of are clued into as postpartum doulas is we really listen to like, what is, like what's kind of between the words that this person is saying? Are they okay? And that's really our primary thing as postpartum doulas is like, is this person doing okay? Are they coping well with new parenthood? And if they're not, then how do we support them? How do we build that community and circle up around them so that they feel loved on and supported?
Mhm. Right. And I
Um,
mean, it's rare that someone will reach out to us saying, I'm not, you know,
yeah,
I'm not coping well, or,
I
I
mean it
really
happens, but
need help.
yeah,
And we don't hear that very often. Usually it's, you know, I need some support, which is fantastic. And then once we get working, we start realizing that, maybe there are some extra things that need to be taken care of.
yeah,
Or, help them figure out the ways to do it for themselves.
yeah. And absolutely. And I think that one thing that new parents are often floored by is like how difficult it can be to just meet your basic human needs in that postpartum period. Because you and I, again, we've had so many conversations. We've talked about this over and over about like how just as new parents, I know I was totally unprepared for like how difficult it was to feed myself with a new baby, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that that would be like, it's food, like go eat. And it's truly, it's still difficult, when I'm home with my own kids, like I'll forget to eat. And here I am telling everybody, don't forget to nourish yourself and eat some good things. I mean, eat what you want, but also like try to get some good things that are going to hold you over, because you don't know when the next time you're going to eat it. So we definitely talk about that in postpartum, and even with our birth clients, as we are wrapping things up, we do try really hard to prepare folks as best as we can, not only for a birth experience that they are quite satisfied with, but also get them ready for postpartum, that mindset of things are going to change. Yeah. That you can handle it. But we're here, and we also have some tricks to help make it a little smoother. I remember for myself, I didn't worry about birthing my babies. That wasn't an issue. I really thought I was going to just kind of like cruise through it all, and I don't know where that confidence came from.
It's good though. I love to see that.
But postpartum really was a wake-up call that I have an extra human who is totally adorable and has all these great outfits, and I have all this amazing gear. But what do I do myself?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, my first birth was a cesarean, and I was like totally unprepared for how much healing I was going to need. And then, of course, I underestimated again how much healing I was going to need after my subsequent vaginal birth. Like, I was like, oh, I'll be fine. And like, but I really, which was dumb because I was already a birth professional. I should have known that. But, I think it's really important to talk about, like, caring for yourself in as loving a way as you would care for your baby. I think that that's really important in that postpartum period in particular. And so we wanted to talk today about some of our favorite tips and tricks for nourishing your body after you have a baby, because that can be a real challenge. And because we have so many weird cultural hangups about food. Like, we have a really weird food culture in the US, if you're watching from outside the US. But, so we wanted to talk about just like loving on your body with food, and really taking good care of yourself in that way. So, do you want to jump in, Lindsay, or do you want me to go ahead and?
You go ahead. And
okay.
I mean, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. Will do. So one of my favorite tricks for feeding yourself postpartum is to prepare ahead of time. And by the way, these are great for postpartum, but all of these tips are really great for any time that you're in a really busy season of your life. I find that I still go back. I still do a lot of these things, even now, if I know, like, March is a really busy month for us. So I know, like, okay, I'm doing some of these things ahead of March, even though my kids are older now. Mm-hmm. So they can be really helpful in any season of your life that feels busy. So, pardon me, the best thing I ever did for myself when I was pregnant with my third baby was batch cooking. And so, because what happened was I was home with 2 4-year-olds, and my husband was away for a month. So he was doing a medical school rotation out in Oregon, and I was home and, hugely pregnant with our third. And what I would do is every time I would make a meal, I would make twice as much as I normally would. And so I would make a pot of soup, but I would make like a giant pot of soup. And we would eat however much we wanted. And then the rest, I would put in like a Ziploc bag in the freezer. I'd seal it and lay it flat. And then after a couple weeks, I just had this like stack of flat Ziploc bags of soup, casserole and stew in the freezer. And it was amazing because it was like not really much extra effort at all, And so anytime I did that. And so then after Emmett was born, I had this stockpile of food in my freezer, and I could just like pull out in the morning, I would just pull out a bag of something and leave it on the counter to thaw out, and then we would have dinner. Like,
I love it. Like, just grab a bag.
yeah, like, and it was like,
You can have the kids do it.
yeah, exactly. So
Like,
it,
use your other kids, people.
oh yeah, yeah,
You need
absolutely.
help.
I really, guys, can you just pull that
Yeah.
out? Just toss it in the crock pot, plug it in, you're good. Just that's dinner. Um,
Now
so
the pots.
yeah, yeah, I know. Now it's, I don't know.
I don't have one, so I can't speak about them.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm really old fashioned
They're
now.
all the rage. So
So that is one of my favorite tricks. And like I said, that's one I still use. If I know that we have a busy week, if as I'm cooking, I will just cook double. And if you're not someone who cooks, if you're ordering takeout, order extra and throw it in the fridge. Like it's adaptable. It's a good
I love it.
tactic.
I love it. Thank you for like including everybody, because not everybody wants to cook. Not everybody really wants to destroy their kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes there are times I'm like, oh, like I really want to make this amazing meal, but I don't want to clean up. And then for me, the pots and the pans do bother me. Even if I let them sit, I know, believe me, the dishes can wait, but like blah, 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 not after a day. So, and that is actually, it's funny. It's hard for me to cook in my own kitchen, but cooking in our postpartum clients' kitchens is actually one of my like favorite things. Like, it brings me so much joy. Sometimes I'll put like some soft music on my phone and I'll just listen to some music and I'll just be in the kitchen and I'm available to the family. Like, let's get this house smelling good. I'm going to put something in the crock pot before I head out. Like, leave your bowls and your spoons and your napkin, like everything's out on your counter ready to go, because when you have a new baby or multiples, you are doing everything one-handed.
Yeah.
So I want literally everything like set up. I mean, that's also the nurse in me, the operating room nurse. I really love being prepared. So it comes in handy.
That's a great. I love that though, and it's funny because you had mentioned this before, that you tell a lot of our postpartum clients to literally set up their bowls and spoons
Have it all out
ahead of time. Yeah,
like pour your cereal and like cover it up somehow, or if you don't think it's gonna get if it's gonna get ruined. But yeah, have everything like. I used to have like my oatmeal and a spoon and like the kettle, everything totally ready so that I could just wake up in the morning, because children don't fully understand that you need a moment.
yeah, yeah. And with coffee too, I often will like put the water and the coffee grounds in the coffee maker the night before, and then in the morning, all I have to do is like stumble downstairs and just like hit the button, and and then there's hot coffee. So it's yeah, that ahead of time prep can be a real game changer, and particularly if you are not a morning person. Like, I am not a morning person at all, and so that like having that prep ahead of time, if you can, is really helpful for me, because in the morning I'm just like, everyone go away.
And I am a morning person, and it's still hard for me. Like, I need to know that the coffee is ready the night before, because if I wake up and it's not ready,
it's over.
It's just game over. Let's all go back to bed. Everybody, restart.
Yeah. So
another thing that I do try to recommend, and I recommend this totally with the knowledge that like you're busy with a baby, and it may not always happen, but when you can, maybe cut some fruit up or buy prepared fruit already at
did
the
you
grocery
freeze?
store. Have it in your fridge.
Did I freeze?
Oh, it froze up. So I don't know if anybody caught that, but I was just basically saying that if you can have even some fruit or cheese in your fridge, cut up the night before, a sandwich. It's like, even though you're home with a baby and you know you're not going anywhere further than the couch to the fridge,
Pack a lunch.
pack a lunch. Have food ready to go so that you can just grab it. Like Liz said, get takeout when you can. You know, that again,
Yeah.
not always a reality, but like if you can get a large sub, get a large sub and eat what you want, and then save the rest.
Yeah.
And just have food ready available. Sometimes one of my favorite things to do is to, because I don't have a juicer, and again, that's another mess I don't want to clean up. I go to juice places and I bring juices to clients and smoothies, and sometimes I get a few extras so that they can have them in the fridge for later. I do that for myself. I'll get a juice and I'll get a smoothie, and it's almost like, it's not a meal, but like it at least fills me enough where I'm like, ooh, okay, my blood sugar isn't dropping, and I'm not, nudgy and not able to think. You're on a lack of sleep as it is.
Yeah.
Get some food into your system. Please don't starve yourselves. Like, eat.
And especially in the immediate postpartum, especially those first really 6 weeks, especially, you are healing from birth. So you really, like, that healing takes extra energy. And I think that we have so much pressure to like bounce back after baby, whatever that means. I hate that phrase. Like,
balance.
But,
I don't want to balance on like anything. Like, like love me.
Yeah, but we have so much pressure, and we, again, it's that cultural weirdness around food where we feel like, oh, like I'm supposed to lose this baby weight immediately. And that is like really not a good expectation. It's not a realistic or a healthy expectation. The reality is that your body puts on that extra weight for a reason, and it's like emergency reserves. And also for breastfeeding, if you're nursing, especially, your body is using those reserves, and it takes time. And so you really, like, I really encourage, everyone, but especially new moms, to not restrict your food. Eat what you want, when you want, but at the same time,
Woo!
I know, just yes. But also you want to really focus on nourishing your body. So, I love to think about like prepping a veggie tray to just keep in the fridge. I know Twinks is watching and she's laughing about my veggie tray obsession. But it's like, then you just have them handy, and they don't have to be, you don't have to eat plain veggies if you don't like them. Like ranch dip is amazing, so and things that you like. And I'm a big fan of trying to get protein in. So, you can buy, if you eat meat, you can buy pre-made, pre-cooked chicken even. Like, don't be shy about buying some of those ingredients pre-prepped, because I know I used to be someone who I made everything from scratch. I baked our own bread. I made our own yogurt. And like, there was a time in my life where that brought me a lot of joy. And at this point in my life, it does not, like, I'm like, I don't have time for that. Yeah. Twink says she's on the veggie tray train.
It's a great idea. I need to set up an actual veggie tray. I might have to like get on this choo-choo train here. I mean, like, everything's always like in bags and stuff, but I'm like, I think I'm going to make it a thing now.
I bought an actual tray on Amazon, and it has like all the wells for different veggies. And now anytime my kids are like, I'm hungry, I'm like, here's the veggie.
Go to the train. I love it.
And it actually has like really bumped our veggie intake, which is great. But I think like just kind of focusing on like, okay, like, how do I get some protein in myself so that I'm going to feel satisfied? I'm not going to be getting like blood sugar headaches. Because I'm starving, So if you're gonna, I love hard-boiled eggs. At our house, we eat a lot of them. So you can just boil a whole dozen, and then you have them all week, because they'll keep in the fridge, Cheese
Nuts.
is great. Yes. And I just want to give a shout out too, since we're talking about food, to some of my moms that come to my group who like can't eat a lot of those things, so if that means keeping coconut yogurt or whatever kind of yogurt you can eat in your fridge so that you can just grab it,
Right.
that's great too.
Oh, yeah.
I think whatever, sometimes we have dietary restrictions that we don't really have control over. So, working within those, think about, what can you eat? Can you grab some hummus? Can you, whatever is going to work for what you have going on? Because if it doesn't work for you, it's useless. So you might as well just do what works.
Right. Can I give like a tiny shout
No.
out, like even having like a little bite of chocolate here and
Oh my
there?
gosh.
It's
Of
like,
course.
what a mood booster. And I mean, eat all the chocolate, like, I mean,
Yeah.
everything, but I just, sometimes if I just had like a little piece of chocolate, it just, um,
I was thinking of you, Melissa.
like just or whatever, like a little treat. And sometimes that treat was that smoothie. Like it just boosted my day.
Yeah.
And also something that I've even had to continue working on these days is maybe like not having that second cup of coffee and saying, wait a minute, I haven't even eaten yet. I know. No. Maybe have it later. I haven't even had coffee this morning. I know. I
Oh,
did
honey.
caught up last night.
Honey.
I know. But sometimes like I'll notice like as I'm going for that second cup immediately, I'm like, eat something first,
Yeah.
then sit down with that second cup of coffee. And for me, like that's just how my body is. Like
Yeah, I get jittery if
I
I
get
have coffee and no food. And then I'm
literally
like,
by the third cup, I'm like, maybe I should.
I know, I'm like, I gotta eat some food. I'm all like,
I'm always like, now what do I do? Now what do I do?
oh,
So, and chocolate, yes, Melissa.
yes. Yeah, no, I'm like, eat the chocolate. Like I said,
Chocolate.
eat. I think we're really focusing on those nourishing foods, but also like eat
Right.
what you want, eat what you love. And we have all of these, just as a shout out to the breastfeeding side of things, we have all of these kind of cultural ideas of like what nursing parents should and shouldn't eat, and very few of them are based on science. So like people often they're like, well, my somebody told me I shouldn't eat chocolate while I'm nursing, or somebody told me I shouldn't eat spicy food. And I'm always like, what do you think nursing parents in Thailand eat? They eat spicy food and their babies are fine. Like, so don't cut those foods out of your diet if you're nursing unless you have a good reason, like you think there's a food that's causing your baby a problem. But in the absence of a problem, just eat your food, eat what you like. Like
That's
don't,
like such a mom. Like, eat your food.
yeah, like come on.
Eat your food. Anyone relate?
Just try one bite, honey. Come on. You'll like it, I promise.
I promise. I promise. But it's true because you can function better as a human, and a sleep deprived human who is worried a lot about are they doing everything right. And if you have some food in your system, you can make some clearer decisions, and your body can kind of balance out that sleep deprivation a little bit differently. It's a lot of adjusting. And when Liz was talking about that immediate healing, especially 6 weeks after, I mean, your body had a placenta in it, and that placenta detached and was birthed, and you now have a wound basically in your body that's large.
Placenta-sized. It's big.
It's placenta-sized, and you can't see it on the outside. So we all think that these oh wow, look at you bounced back, you're already at the grocery store, girl. Well, we're still healing on the inside.
Yeah. And if you had that like here, people would be like, oh my God, sit down. But because
what are you doing?
Yeah. But because it's internal, we're like, oh, you're good, you're fine, like
you're up and you're entertaining.
rest. Even like
your
when new
people,
parents,
yeah, like Skype, like right away,
yeah,
especially like in like cold and flu season, you can say
yeah,
not now, or you can wake up in the morning when you have visitors coming and you can be like, just not feeling it.
yeah,
Or if you are going to come over, I need help. Do it. Do it.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I actually, one of the tips I tell our postpartum clients is, and actually our prenatal clients as well, is just have a list up like on your kitchen cabinet of all the things that just always need to be done. Like take the trash
Always.
out, you know, like let the dog outside, all of that good stuff. And then anytime somebody comes over, hopefully they should be asking. I'm sorry, I have Southern roots and I'm like, manners, people. You come over with a new baby, you ask what you can do.
Yes.
Um, you know, but
Please.
when somebody asks, you just say like, oh, well, just pick something from the list. And that way you don't have to sort of say like, oh, can you scrub my toilet? You know, because that feels awkward, but you can just be like, pick something from the list. That would be really helpful, you
Right.
know?
Right. I love the idea of like taking the dog out before you leave, because I remember
Yeah,
new mom, that was a hard thing to do, and I had winter babies, so I stressed over like how, and
I
I had
know.
a dog who she couldn't just go out on her own. Like I
Yeah,
had to take her out into our like backwoods, and I would bundle up my baby. Like it was such a process just to take the dog out. So like
yeah,
anytime like my parents came to visit, or they would bring groceries, and that was always lovely. And then it would, they would take the dog out before they'd go. And it was just like, oh, I don't know.
yeah,
I just felt bad for my dog. Then I'm worried about my dog. And
yeah.
it really gets.
Yeah. And I think too, like on that note, like let your people support you. One of the things that people can do is, I mean, again, my Southern roots are showing, but I never go visit a new parent without food in hand. Like, like if I'm just coming over for a social visit, I'm bringing a casserole, you know? Like,
Want to come over later?
yeah, sure. I'll
New
get a
parent.
casserole going.
Casserole train.
Yeah, and actually one of the best things so when we had our twins and they were in the NICU, so we weren't even home. We were staying, yes, must bring food.
Bring food.
We were staying near the hospital because we lived an hour from the hospital, and I got discharged, they were still in. And one of our neighbors set up a meal train for us where she just had people sign up, and she would call people and be like, can you bring a meal on this day? And people would drive down to the hospital and bring us food.
Mm.
And it was amazing. So now there's actually a website that does this. I promise we're not affiliated with them. I just am a fan. So mealtrain.com, you can set up a meal train. And what you do is you go in and input your dietary preferences and what dates you'd like, how often you'd like meals brought. And then you send the link to your friends and family, and they get to choose what dates work for them. And it's easy to use and it's wonderful. I've set them up for like people at church who are having surgery and stuff like that. So it's a really nice tool.
And also just, if you're going to drop something off to someone, sometimes that's all that it is. You're dropping it off, and that might be at the door.
Yeah.
It might just be like, I just wanted to say hi, and I wanted to leave you this. Do you need anything? But sometimes like we just don't feel like entertaining, or we're just having a day where we need to be with ourselves.
Yeah.
And but getting that food still feels really, really good. So
good.
I think just if you are a visitor, just that politeness of, is this still a good time? Do you need anything else done? Maybe you have older children. Would you like for me, as long as there are car seats and everything like that is like, or take your toddler for a walk.
Yeah.
Just to get the toddler out of the house, so that you're still not entertaining, but you're doing something.
Yeah. And sometimes new parents are starved for adult company. So sometimes they just want you to sit with them and chat.
Right.
So just, I think just always just asking what that person needs is huge. And if you're a postpartum new parent, communicating what your needs are. And I really encourage everyone to just, when you wake up in the morning, make that part of your morning routine over your morning coffee or whatever, over your breakfast, and just say, what do I need today? What is going to help make me happy and healthy today? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really powerful question. And I actually learned that from Mara Glatzel, who I'm a big fan of her work as well. So she really taught me how to do some kind of self-care triage in terms of like, what do I need today? What's going to help me? What's going to work for me today?
I think that's great.
Yeah. So yeah. And I think also like if the meal train is great, but some people don't have people locally. And that's a lot of who we get a fair amount of our postpartum questions from folks who they're like, I don't have people locally. I just need to set up some support for myself. And so I think like getting some help, whether it's your community, whether it's, a postpartum doula, whether it's family or friends locally, asking for that help is really powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Like we need to be better about asking for help.
Are you giving me a hint, Lindsay? Because you need to remind me about this sometimes. I'm really bad at it.
I'm glad that you pick up on it. Sometimes I'm like, what do you need? Like, I will help you. I am here. I will help you. Just say it.
You're good. But I think that's why it's good to have your people, because like that is a thing, that's a challenge of mine. I'm working on it. And I love that you're like, girl, why are you doing this by yourself? We're partners.
If you want to, like, I don't want to step on your toes, but I'm here and, share the load, and don't be afraid to speak up. You're not going to inconvenience anyone. Nobody truly realizes how much energy it takes to be home with small children. I was like, highly educated, strong woman, like independent. I got this. And I did have support. And I still, like, there would be days I would just be like, I don't think I got up off the couch today. Like, like how are we still here?
Yeah.
And I do talk about in postpartum, like setting up your little nest, so that even if like your nursery is just down the hall, you're not always going to feel like getting up. Like have your diapers and everything right there. So really just kind of like cuddle up with yourself. And
Netflix and chill.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
With yourself. Netflix and chill with yourself. It takes on a whole different meaning once you have a baby. It's just and I think too, like if you don't have people locally, or if it's a day where you don't have a meal coming, or I know back when I was in my everything from scratch phase, I would, and this is actually my other tip, is start dinner at the beginning of the day. Like I would start prepping dinner at 10 a.m., and literally just like I would chop some carrots, and then I would have to go take care of the babies. And then I would come back and be like, okay, now it's the celery. And then I would have to go. So
I know. And that's hard though. Like when you're used to doing something all at once, to have to be like, all I did I just cut celery, like that's it. Hey, you cut celery and took care of a baby. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're keeping a tiny human alive. That's not a small thing.
No, it isn't. It's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing, and you guys are all doing great. You're really doing amazing, and we want you to reach out to us. Not, hey, if you need a hand in the house, that's what we're here for. One day, one night, or multiple days, weeks, months, whatever you need. But also like that's why we're here doing this,
Yeah.
Message
so
us, say hi, like
yeah. And
we
just so
do.
you feel like you're not alone. I
Mhm.
actually, and so if you are, we talked about being sleep deprived. Last week's live was all about getting sleep when your baby doesn't sleep. So go back and watch that one if you haven't already. But actually, some of the feedback I got from moms after that one was just like, it was just so nice to know that I wasn't alone, that it wasn't just me who's struggling with this. And so that's a big part of what we want to do with these videos, is just to let people know that like you're not, it's not hard because you're doing it wrong. It's hard because it's just a hard, important
Hard.
job. And you're doing awesome and you're not alone. Validation.
That's
Yes,
right,
Roxanne.
Roxanne. It is. It is hard, and nobody really told me like how.
Yeah.
For me, it was more emotional because I was so used to doing everything pretty efficiently, and I really felt like I took all these steps backwards, and I'm going, I have no idea. I can't get dinner made. And then just also like as much as we love social media, um, really be careful. Watch out who you're following and who you're
Yeah.
interacting with, because it doesn't always give a healthy picture that may be healthy for you, and
Yeah.
undue pressure. I was not on Facebook for the first year of my first son's life,
Same here.
and I had no idea what people were talking about, this Facebook stuff, and oh, you'll be in good touch with people, and I was like, oh, then I need that. That's a great idea. I would like to see the friends that I don't see anymore, and doing all this. And then, you start getting into the whole thing, and it's like, wow, I'm either
Yeah.
doing wrong or
Yeah.
not good at this. And
Yeah.
you are so good at this. However your style is, just
You're doing
amazing.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
me
Robin's point
too.
that, yeah, some people make it look easy, but I always encourage people to remember that like what we are sharing on social media is the good moments. We share the moments we're proud of. And I don't think that it's always in this way of like I have to make everyone think I'm perfect, but
Nope.
it's human nature
No.
to share the good moments. And we're not sharing like when we're yelling at our kids in the Walmart parking lot. Nobody's sharing that on Facebook, but we're doing it. Yeah, exactly, Melissa. People don't post the hard days. I hope it's not just me in the Walmart parking lot, but you know.
Well, and that's, it's totally up to you how I call it like curating your
Yes.
social kind of um
I
what
miss you too,
profile,
Robin.
like what you look like. And it's curating. It's like,
Yeah.
how do I want to be to the world? And sometimes I will post something and I'm like, ugh, like that
Am
might
I
not
that
feel good to
person?
somebody else. I'm a highly sensitive person, and I'm constantly like, oh, like I don't know, that may not work for someone, but it is, um
But it's good. And
it's the moment you share, and
yeah,
you
and
can
I
share
think
the good and the bad, share whatever you want.
yeah. But I think too, like for me, a big part of it is like unfollowing any Facebook page, any Instagram account, like anything that makes you feel less than. Like if
Yes.
there's consistently someone who's like, you feel like, God, I'm just never gonna be as awesome as that person. Like hide their feed, unfollow
What you
them.
need
That's
to then do is message Liz, because she'll be the first one who will be like, wait a minute, did you just say that you were not good as somebody
I'll be
else?
like,
Because when I do that, Liz is like, I get this look, and it sets me
I'm
straight, because
always like,
I'm like, oh
you
yeah,
hush your mouth.
put your mouth. But something that I kind of, the way I determine like when I need to unfollow is how many eye rolls am I? Is this like day after day of me being like, oh God, like I
Am I,
can't.
am I in
Then
danger of
I'm
my eyes getting stuck back here?
like, I don't think that like this page is right for me. Like, why am I still here? Like, this is a waste of my time. It's worst. Yeah. So
Twigs is making fun of my finger because that's when you know I'm serious. I'm like, listen.
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. And I think like just hang out in places that make you feel good. Hang out with people who make
Hang
you
out
feel
with
good.
us.
Hang out with us. Speaking of, you can hang out with us in person coming up in just, what is it, like a couple weeks, a week?
On March 3rd, if we're talking about
March
this.
3rd. Yeah, I'm talking about that. So we will be at the Natural Infant Child Expo. Is that, it's nice. We always just think of it as nice. But it's the Natural Infant and Child Expo in Plymouth. So
Yeah.
we will be there all day. Come and hang out with us. We're always good for a laugh at these events. We have a great time. And
Yep,
this is
great.
like a little snapshot of the good time that we have together.
Yeah, like, and we're like, we'll be together, not
I know. Not even via the
me in like
magic
this
of
little like box
Facebook.
that I see myself
I
in
know.
right now.
I know it's a little weird because I'm like, I'm big and you're like, you're
That's okay.
little.
I'm okay
Um,
with that. Like, I'm like your
um,
thought bubble. Like that's what it looks like to me.
oh my gosh, you are my thought bubble.
Your thought bubble. But yeah,
Except
we would love to see you in person, wherever you are in
yeah,
your life journey. Okay, this doesn't just
yeah,
have to be a baby thing. Like
yeah,
wherever you are in life, we want to be there for you. We want
yeah,
to hear from you and listen to whatever you want to share with us. Support you in any way we can, and
yeah,
take it from there. We're a good time.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you can hang out with us on the internet too. We have our Rising Tide Women Sisterhood group.
But you can't unfollow us.
Yeah, don't unfollow us. We make you feel good, I hope. That's our goal.
No eye rolls.
Yeah, I don't know. Or at least minimal eye rolls,
It's all right. Like nobody's, we're good.
Nobody's perfect. I
Nobody's
mean, we're
perfect. We're
close, but
human. We're human.
but yeah, so I think, like join our group, come and hang out. It's a really like, I really do think of it as the kindest corner of the internet. It's just, it feels like a soft place to land in what can sometimes feel like a hard world. And we have a good time. So come and hang out with us. Like I said, if you want to work with us, if you want us to come in person and support you, you can get in touch through our website, risingtidewomen.com, and we will just come to your house and, like,
Just that. Like we're just gonna
yeah,
be like,
it's great. Like,
let's do that.
and then also Tuesday, Robin mentioned in the comments, but on Tuesdays, I run a breastfeeding and chest feeding support group in Eastham at the Eastham Public Library, singular, from 10 a.m. to noon, and it's free. It's open to everyone, and it is a lactation-focused space because that's my area of expertise. But I also just want to share that I am fiercely protective of it as a non-judgmental space. So we do have folks who come, and you can, if you want to fly us there, we'll come, Roxanne.
We would totally.
But it's really important to us that, even though it's a breastfeeding and chest feeding group, that even if you're not breastfeeding, we want you to feel welcome there and supported and loved on, because that is like our big soapbox issue is just sisterhood. We just want everybody to feel loved and supported.
Just love on your people.
Yeah, that's all. Just love each other. Be cool.
Also like check in on people.
Yes.
Randomly. How are you today? You don't have to like delve into everything, but sometimes just sending someone like an emoji, like a heart, or hey, how are you? And you never know. Sometimes that opens up.
Yes.
A lot.
Or just like a text. Lindsay and I Bitmoji each other all the time. We're a little obsessed with Bitmoji. But like even just sending somebody like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Yeah, like that. I know for me, if I get a text like that, it just makes my whole day. I'm like, somebody was thinking about me. I'm so special and loved. So that maybe we could assign homework, Lindsay. That's like our challenge for the week is like send at least one text or phone call just to say you're thinking about somebody. Check in on
I did
somebody.
it. I did a bunch yesterday. It was like firing
Yeah.
them up. I'm like, I'm just checking in on people. Like, and it
Yeah.
actually, it made my day so fun because I was getting all these texts back and, pictures. And I'm like,
Oh,
wow, like,
did I lose you again?
this hopefully worked for both.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry
I'm
about
back.
that.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
check
guess,
in on people and love everyone.
yeah. And nourish your body. Take good care of
Nourish
yourself.
your
Yeah, we're thinking about you. All right. Have an
body. Yeah.
awesome week. We love you
All
all.
right. Bye.
Mwah. Bye.